Today, I'm going to tell you why all of us are falling into one of the biggest altcoin traps of this entire cycle. This is going to be by far the most important and most valuable crypto video you'll have watched in a long time. I'm going to give you the entire playbook for the next few months. I'm going to discuss how much lower the prices will go and when the next leg of this bull market is going to kick in. Because even though sentiment is down right now, that's going to be the fuel that makes the next leg the most powerful one we've seen this cycle so far, with the greatest chance of providing life-changing gains. Before we start, nothing here is financial advice, and I'm not a financial advisor. So let's just get straight into it. I want to answer the question, when will this market stop being crap and actually start going up so we can make some money? To answer that question is very simple. We just need to look at what Bitcoin is going to do, because when Bitcoin has its next leg up, it's going to unwind all of this negative sentiment that's being built up in altcoins and create massive mega pumps. Don't believe what influencers are saying about this being a Bitcoin only cycle. There's enough pain in altcoins at the moment to pump them really hard in the next leg. And I'll explain that in detail towards the end of the video regarding my thoughts on what the next alt season will look like. But for now, I'm going to tell you when I expect the next major leg up of this market to take place through Bitcoin analysis. Remember, all we need is a Bitcoin leg up and it's going to be amazing for altcoins. So the first thing we need to do is we need to look at what Bitcoin did at this point in the last cycles. If we compare this cycle to the 2013 cycle, we can expect to go into a devastating bear market right now. But the question is, does it even make sense to compare this current cycle to 2013? I don't think so, because prior to this bear market, in 2013, Bitcoin had a massive blow off top where it did like a 7x in 50 days. So we can't even begin to compare that to this cycle. It just wouldn't make any sense. But what about the 2021 cycle? Because that's the cycle that everyone has been comparing this cycle to, especially regarding altcoins, which I want people not to do. But if you were to follow 2021 from here, we would have one more measly push up before Bitcoin goes minus 50%. But again, we have to ask the question, does it even make sense to compare the 2021 cycle to where we are now? The answer is, again, no. Because since the moment we started ranging and entered the 90k region, in 2021, Bitcoin had already done a 3x in the time that we've just been chopping. So just from that, you can easily see the 2021 cycle is not even comparable anymore. But if we take a look at the 2017 cycle, we've been following this really well all cycles so far. In fact, even in terms of returns, it's very similar. So based on this, anyone would easily be able to say it's more likely than not that we continue following 2017 because the cycles just mirror each other. And if you were to continue following 2017, look at what we can expect for Bitcoin over the next few months. So just keep that in mind for a moment. The 2017 cycle comparison, it really is more powerful and more useful than you think. I'm not saying we'll follow this exactly because every cycle has its own difference, but it's a great starting point to get us in the right frame of mind and give us a bullish bias. And don't worry, bear with my Bitcoin analysis, because I'm going to use all of this to tell you what I believe will happen to the altcoin market and the altcoins that you hold. The second thing I need to show you, and make sure you pay full attention here, because what I'm about to say will have a meaningful impact on your life in the next few weeks. We need to look at the last two major legs of this bull market and see how long did we spend chopping around before we got another breakout. So based on my analysis, the average chop period for the major legs of this cycle has been around 210 days. In mid-2023, it took around 200 days. And in mid-2024, it took around 240 days. If we were to get that again from the first major high that we made in December, 210 days from this point on would put us in mid-July. That doesn't sound very promising, does it? In fact, it's actually really scary, because think about what happens in this cycle when Bitcoin chops for too long. Altcoins just bleed mercilessly for months on end. We really don't want this scenario where Bitcoin is chopping all the way until the middle of July. Thankfully, I've recognized and realized that it's actually a mistake to assume that we're going to chop for this long. We need to take into account the stage of the cycle that we're in. In 2023, when we chopped for 196 days, the momentum was very slow because we just came out of a bear market. In summer 2024, when we chopped for 238 days, Bitcoin did like a 200% rally. We didn't get that in November. We only got 120%. So based on these two factors, the fact that the early 2023 leg was off the back of a brutal bear market and we had very low momentum, and the fact that the summer 2024 chop was because of the insane 200% move that Bitcoin put in, I think it's foolish to expect a 210-day chop period right now. And I would say discounting this by around 30 to 35% to give a timing of around 130 days makes a lot more sense. Because we got to take into account that there's just way more high time frame momentum at this stage of the market cycle. So in that case, based on our timing analysis of this cycle for the major legs up that we've had, we should expect the next major leg up on Bitcoin to take place around late April. Keep this in mind. We're going to need it, and it's going to tell us exactly what we need to do in our portfolios, which I'll discuss in just a moment. But one more thing I'd like to show you is the catalyst that the market has to pump. Short term, there's no major narratives that can pump this market right now, unless something new comes out. But if we just take a look beyond a few weeks, you'll notice that we have two insane narratives lined up, both of which actually take place at the exact same time. The first is rate cuts. Everyone has been non-stop talking about this narrative all cycle. It's one of the most highest mindshare narratives that has driven this entire bull market. Now, if we take a look at a poly market, we can look at how the odds of a rate cut are changing. The chances dramatically increase as we go from March to May to June. It becomes 34%. And even though it hasn't made a market for July yet, if you take a look over here, it's logical to assume it's going to be really good odds in July. That basically means the 30th of July FOMC meeting is going to be one of the most anticipated narratives of this cycle. And if we start to see good odds in poly market for July, the market is going to try and price in this big narrative. Of course, these odds can change between now and then, but it's a narrative that people right now aren't paying attention to that has the ability to not only pump Bitcoin, but also your altcoins too. The second major narrative that everyone's already forgotten about is the strategic reserve narrative, and the deadline for this is July 22nd. This is the narrative that everyone was so hyped about in November, December, and January, but since the market has gotten so bad, all the optimism is gone. And when the market gets like this, people forget about all the major good news and the narratives that are coming. Mark my words, as we approach these dates, the market is going to be super optimistic again. Everyone's going to be making money and getting carried away. Now, if we know the deadline for the report is July 22nd, and if we know the highly anticipated rate cut meeting is July 30th, we need to know when the market is going to start pumping and pricing these big narratives. Once we have those dates, we have a massive advantage over everyone else in crypto. So for the strategic reserve narrative, luckily for us, we actually have a similar kind of event that we can compare the timing to, which is the El Salvador legal tender narrative of 2021. If you take a look over here, 48 days before the sell-off, the sell the news event, we started pumping and pricing in this narrative. So what I've done is I've copied over this timing over to our current situation over here. So if that were to repeat, we should be pumping aggressively on the 4th of June, but that's only one data point. If you want an example from this cycle regarding how it's been pricing in narratives, we can use the Bitcoin ETF narrative of late 2023. I looked at when we started pricing in this narrative, and I've copied this timing of 80 days before we started pumping ahead of the Bitcoin ETF over to our current situation, and these are the dates we get for when the market will break out and create a life-changing uptrend for us where we can make insane money on altcoins. So we've got the 3rd of May, which is the first possible date where we're going to start pumping like crazy. And we've got the 4th of June as the second possible date. But there's a major problem with this timing. Do you know what it is? It's the fact that both of them come from two very different scenarios. In 2021, the El Salvador rally came off the back of a massive 50% crash. And the Bitcoin ETF rally, the momentum of the market was really strong. We just came off the back of a major bear market. So in this current situation with where Bitcoin is, there's more momentum in the market. That means we should really be front running these dates and even tweaking them a bit. So if we put together all of my analysis in this video, we have our final picture and playbook for how to play the cycle. I'm going to break it down for you step by step right now. So remember, the first thing that we did was we used the 2017 cycle matching to gain a bullish bias for Bitcoin over the next few months. Second, we reviewed how the uptrends of this cycle have formed and how long the chop periods between each breakout have been. We applied a discount and we put it onto our final chart over here. So as you can see, 130 days from this high puts us at late April for when the chop should finish. Third, we looked ahead and asked, what are the biggest narratives that can really drive this market and start an uptrend? We found the rate cut narrative and the strategic reserve narrative, both of which, by some magic, are within a week of each other. My main overarching point is this. We have a cycle-defining narrative. Actually, it's an industry-defining narrative coming up, coupled with historical precedent for being bullish, in the middle of peak fear and horrible sentiment. Whether we break out in April, May, or June, there's going to be one more mega leg of this market. And I believe the rewards it will bring is well worth the pain that we're going through right now. It really is only a matter of time. And that's why I said in the title of this video, this is one of the biggest traps of this entire cycle. I really do think being bearish now is a big mistake. If you have any friends who you're helping in crypto, share this video with them, especially the part regarding the timing for the next few months, because I haven't seen anyone formulating a playbook like this. Now, a lot of you will be thinking, what about March? I can't take much more of this trash market. What I will say in response to that is this. As I've said, I've been very patient with my buys. In premium, I haven't bought anything since I called the Trump meme coin and sold the top, which is over a month ago now. Currently, Bitcoin is still under its daily trend and is trapped in this range-bound structure. I could see a washout under 90k, which would be a buy for me. I could also see a major relief rally in March that gets people really excited again. And the Trump tariff headlines that restart on April 2nd lead to another big crash. And then as per my analysis, late April is where we start the big moves up. I'm going to make a video specifically on March and how I expect April to play out with the tariff FUD. Make sure you subscribe right now for those videos. I've recently realized that people actually enjoy these sorts of videos where you plan ahead for months and think about different scenarios of the market. I do regret not making a full video on this potential scenario that I had in my mind, instead of just discussing it in my Trump meme coin video. So expect more of these. They won't come often, maybe once every 6 weeks, but they'll be crucial to watch. So now I'm going to tell you how I'm planning on utilizing all this information I've shared with you in this video. Firstly, as I've said, a sub 90k washout, or if certain altcoins come to entries that I've been patient for, I'll be buying. The second thing, I really don't think there's any major need to rush this market, because as per my analysis showed, we could be waiting until late April for a major breakout. That means between now and then is preparation time. And by preparing, that means waiting patiently for the right entries in altcoins and also accumulating the best tokens for the next leg of this bull market. That's my focus for the next 6 weeks or so. If you want to see what altcoins I accumulate from large caps to low caps, and want to see how I prepare my portfolio for this mega leg that we're going to get ahead of these big narratives, check out premium. You can see the reviews from some of the calls I made during the last leg. And I'll be honest, I'm probably going to double the price just before this next leg up. So make sure you get in and lock in the lowest price it will ever be. Finally, let's tie in this entire video for altcoins specifically. So most of this video has been Bitcoin analysis, right? But it makes sense that it had to be this way because there's no way altcoins pump without Bitcoin giving them oxygen. This is my new models for how altcoin seasons of this cycle will work. When Bitcoin's RSI goes into overheated again, it's going to trigger an alt season. But that alt season won't take place in lots of coins. It's mostly going to be concentrated in just 1 to 2 narratives on centralized exchanges. And the real 2017 and 2021 style bull market will take place in a fresh on-chain narrative. Think about AI agents in December, Solana meme coins in March 2024. So really our only goal over the next few weeks is identify which ones of our altcoins will likely underperform on the next leg and switch them into the ones that will outperform in the next leg up. And something I do want to say before I end this video is the narrative regarding altcoins and it being a Bitcoin only cycle is only being perpetuated now because of the divergences in price. People are just talking themselves into a narrative. Even though it is based on some truth, it doesn't mean altcoins are dead and no longer worth playing. You'll see how in a few months how everyone's attitude towards altcoins completely switches again. It's all just a cycle. People hate altcoins for 3 months and then they love them again for 1 month. Don't fall into that trap. The playbook I've shown you in this video is crucial. Thanks for watching.